Bill Lee of Tennessee, who's standing with us, as you know. I'm signing a presidential memorandum to establish the Memphis Safe Task Force, and it's very important because of the crime that's going on, not only in Memphis, in many cities, and we're going to take care of all of them, step by step, just like we did in D.C. We have virtually no crime in D.C. right now, and we're going to keep it that way. It's our nation's capital. We're going to keep it that way, or we're going to federalize it if we had to, but we don't have to anymore because it's in such great shape. This task force will be a replica of our extraordinarily successful efforts here, and you'll see it's a lot of the same thing, although the numbers here are really something. They're really bad. Now, we did send FBI in about 4 months ago to work, and it brought some of the numbers down, and they did a great job, but we're sending in the big force now. We also sent them into Chicago on a sort of a moderate basis, and we brought down crime a little bit in Chicago, but we're now going to bring it down very big. We're going to be doing Chicago probably next. I was with a great businessman, a man who is involved in all cities through his business. And I say, who do you think should be next after Memphis? And he said, sir, you've got to save Chicago. We're going to wait a little while. But he said, you got to save Chicago. You can't let it go. And this is a very prominent man that everybody knows in this room. Another man in Memphis was saying, Bill, he was saying, very interesting, he's on the board of FedEx.
Ken, how do you feel about Trump sending the National Guard to Memphis?
I mean, for the elders and stuff like that don't feel safe, I get it. But at the same time, nothing changes about the conditions that the people are in. Only thing you're doing is just having poor people behave themselves. That's what it is. Them not being poor doesn't change. Their economic situation doesn't change. Only thing we are going to do is not shoot. And my problem with this, though, is the biggest crimes in America are done politically and financially. Those political and financial crimes, the trickle-down effect is it breaks the back of the poor, right? The crime is being done in the mayor's office. We know for a fact that police put drugs on the street. We know for a fact that police put guns on the street, right? So you can send these military forces into these environments to stop the shooting, right? The only thing it does is you poor niggas behave yourself. That's all it's doing. Behave yourself. Let these old ladies walk down the street. But the conditions, this is a capitalist society. These people have capitalism problems. So only thing we're doing is putting a Band-Aid on it. But we're not talking about economic empowerment. Nothing changes. It's just a bunch of well-behaved niggas with a low body count, with a low body rate. But they're still malnutrition. Reading literacy is terrible, right? Their conditions don't change. You just got a militarized area.
Before Mr. Rippey and Doc respond, I want to play J.D. Vance because he actually filled in for Charlie Kirk on his show. So they're trying to still keep the show going, even though Charlie Kirk has passed away. But here's the clip.
There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.
Cool, Eric. Shout out to you again. Honest conversation can't happen until people sit down and listen to 24 hours of everything they don't want to hear, honestly digest it, and go from there with a conversation. I 1,000% agree with you. Mr. Rippey, can there be any unity between the right and the left? You're very much into right-wing politics, so can there be any unity? I think he froze. I think you have internet issues. Oh, yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
So first, I mean, no, and I said, well,
Can y'all hear him?
No, he's choppy.
Yeah, you choppy, Mr. Rippey. But we got another super chat. Stay safe, y'all. Toki, Doc, do you feel like there could be any unity between the right and the left?
I think the majority of people are in the middle and want what's best for, America and American people. I think there will always be certain groups on the right and certain groups of the left that can't disagree. But I think you can bring the majority of people together because this country is together because it's only going to be advantageous for us. So I think we can bring the majority of people together. I don't think you'll ever be able to bring people all into one thought process, one mind state, and have them all together. But it seems like if we don't work on getting it now, that it may never be possible because the gap seems to be getting bigger. The division seems to be getting bigger. And so I think now is one of the best times that we'll have to try to go for that if we're going to try to do it.
Well, we all black on here, so I want to play one last. You good? I want to play one last clip before we get to the final thoughts. I'm gonna go to you first, Mr. Rippey.
Before you do that, Gary, can I
go
respond
ahead.
to that?
Yeah. Okay, you good now? Go ahead.
So basically, I think first thing first is we got to be willing to have a conversation. A lot of times, people not willing to jump on to have a conversation. That's what Charlie Kirk was all about. Is conversing because we have people funding different entities. Either it's a mainstream media from Fox News saying one thing, mainstream media, CNN, and they using these trigger words to divide the country. But it's a bigger, higher power out there that's controlling everything. That's why we see these get the money out of politics. Because once I came out and said I voted Republican, everybody shunned me. They called me all kind of terrible names. I wore a MAGA hat to a Democrat rally, and I got called the worst names you can think of. People spit at me because a fight would have broke out. And, a nigga in a red hat. These white liberals called me a nigga in a red hat in front of black people. And then I wore a Biden-Harris hat to a Trump rally, and I ain't got nothing but love. So it's like, I don't even know, man. We just gotta be willing to have a basic conversation and just ask questions. And I think that's what we're missing out on because we get all the information from social media and all this other garbage.
For sure. And since we all black on here, you had talked about blacks were better in previous centuries. I'm gonna play this clip of what Charlie Kirk said, and this guy responded to it.
Well, when you hear Charlie Kirk talk about Black American progress or lack thereof, Charlie Kirk was influenced by Thomas Sowell, Shelby Steele, and Walter Williams. That's where he's getting that information from, right? So Charlie Kirk is not influenced by Huey P. Newton or Bobby Seale or different people, right? So he's influenced. He gets a lot of his talking points from Thomas Sowell, Shelby Steele, and Walter Williams, who are all great thinkers. But look, we're living in a technocracy. There ain't no coming together because it's algorithm supremacy, right? So the only way that would happen is if we would have to give up something right now that we really love. We would have to break the back of social media and the internet because we are all controlled by our algorithms. So when you meet me and I meet you, first we're going to have to get through a layer of talking points, right? First, we're going to have to get through confirmation bias, right? In order for humanity or America, the world to come together, we would have to put pressure on people that are software developers programming these algorithms. That's what we're all competing against. That's why we're not going to hear each other. That's why we're not going to feel each other, because right now, the new Rome, the new Vatican, the Silicon Valley, they set the tone for how we talk. They set the tone for how we see each other. The black gender war online, that's algorithms. The division between right and left, that's algorithms, right? And then when you're talking to a youth, the youth, I'll land here, you are talking to people that were born into filters, born into augmented reality. So the conversation has to change. And finally, we have to destroy the binary. We're not dealing with left and right anymore. We're dealing with things that have mutated. So in order to hear the youth, they're not seeing these boundaries. They're born in the era of 4chan and all that kind of shit. But the only way we could really come together and close the divide is that algorithm have to change, because that algorithm is what separates us.
For sure. And if you're watching right now, hit that subscribe button and press that notification bell to know when we go live. Mr. Rippey, thank you for coming. Give us your final thoughts and tell us what you think of the new party / man cave.
I just want to say thank you all for having me on here, man. It's been a lot of fun. I love the open dialogue. We need more platforms like this where a conversation needs to be had, because just like Ken just said, we need to start holding these people accountable. The algorithm, that's where we get all our information from, all our news from, and we're not talking to one another. Like I said, that's what Charlie Kirk was all about. I'm willing to talk to any and everybody. I would jump in the room of 100 people that disagree with me, and I will have a conversation with them. And if I can't change more than 20% of minds, that's fine. At least people are listening. People are open-minded. The problem is people are closed-minded because they already have a certain narrative in their mind that they want to believe is true. They want to believe because they are forced and they are conditioned to be a part of a certain element. And that's very problematic, because I try to talk to people and I'll show them the evidence, I'll show them the proof, and they're still not willing to have a conversation with me. But thing is, we need to get more people open, and we need to start holding, like he said, Silicon Valley, we need to start holding these people accountable. The people that really run everything, they say, oh, let's go ahead and make all this money, have them argue over, gender stuff. How many genders there are? Let's have them argue over black versus white. Let's have them argue over, forget about, the Jews, forget about Asians, always black versus white. It's always something racist. It's always something sexist. It's always something offensive. And we need to get out of that stuff and just start talking to one another. That's why I love what y'all are doing, and I'm supporting y'all.
For sure. We'll definitely bring you back on. Doc, for sure. What's your final thoughts?
Oh man, one of my final thoughts is left, right. Man, these people on the internet are crazy. Like, I mean, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not a content creator. I do not care about your opinion. You can inbox it to me. I will gladly not read it. And like, yo, what's up with people? People getting online saying how they want to dox you. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, these people are crazy. Like, I think I've told people a couple of times my name, where I live. None of that stuff bothers me. I don't live on the internet. I don't care. My name is Zachary Briggs. I live in Savannah, Georgia. Y'all be blessed, man. Stop worrying about these crazy politicians.
For sure. Interesting final thoughts. We do this every Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Y'all come check it out with us. And like that guy said, you shouldn't be offended. It's really how someone says it. So you should try to learn from whoever and try to not be offended and just learn something. Like we always say on the new party / man cave, always vote. Have a good A girl just said